because the engine is so smooth, they had to install a beep to remind people to shift.
Like a light, but it's a...
Yeah, it's an audible beep.
Really?
Yeah, which if I don't shift, if I shift a little later, you'll hear it.
Huh.
Let's see. You hear that?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make it in this little runaway. But yeah, so it has a beep that when you hit red line, it beeps. So because they were afraid that people wouldn't feel the engine vibrating as a signal to you know, change it up.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely needed, I would say, with the excitement of a car.
Yeah.
You could get carried away if you're not paying attention, I suppose.
A little ahead of its time there. I think a lot of cars now do have warnings or, you know, shift a red line kind of thing. But
yeah.
Didn't have it here.
Yeah.
Which I don't like. But
yeah, I don't know if I like that either. Stick shift is so timeless.
Exactly. So, but the 4C is the most visceral experience I've had in a new car in a while. It's carbon fiber tub, you know, and you got the brakes. Excuse me, you can hear everything in that car. I can hear the little electronic solenoids firing. I could hear the turbo hissing, spooling, blowing off. I could hear the brake pads scraping on the rotors. That's how.
Really?
Yeah, the Alfa Romeo is just visceral because you can hear everything the car is doing.
I mean, the exhaust is really loud, right? Doesn't it have like a sport exhaust?
Oh, the exhaust sounds great. The exhaust sounds great for sure too. But I'm just talking about all the other little things you hear in the cabin while you're driving. Every servo, every motor, every piece of friction, you hear that in the Alfa Romeo 4C. It's amazing. So I'd love to buy that car off of her, but you know, there's still real money. They're, you know, 50 grand. So can't justify having more cars.
It's true.
Yeah, don't have enough room for the ones I've got now.
Wow, this thing handles good.
Yeah, it does.
Damn. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. And you said the tires weren't the grippiest? Because I mean,
pretty grippy.
Because I mean, that's really, really grippy. Like, yeah.
They're just not as grippy as like
as what it could be.
Yeah, the RX-71s or whatever. But for 255 horsepower, you don't need a lot. So
I still can't believe that's all this has.
Yeah.
Because it feels like 300.
Yeah, it does. It does. It's funny how that is.
It's very.
It's just because it's so smooth all the way to redline, I think.
For sure.
Yeah. I just got that dang AC fixed again.
Yeah.
Thankfully the compressor works, because those are definitely impossible to find. It's just leaking. I took it to the AC guy who can still do R12, and he's just, yeah, you know, it'll be fine. It's just it's leaking right out of the evaporator, so we need to replace that in the dryer and the expansion valve.
Sure.
And then we were trying to source the parts, and oh, they're not made anymore. Great.
Well, that's well, how are you supposed to fix it if it's not made?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of little quirks there too. Mazda had 2 different air conditioning systems on these cars. One was installed by Mazda North America when the cars got to the shore. So like on the R1 cars, they came over without AC, and I think the base models too. And then they got installed by Mazda North America. Whereas the touring models like this one, they had a Denso system that was installed at the factory in Japan. So you have 2 different AC systems on a car that has a very limited run.
Yeah.
There's, you know, not a lot of calls for the parts, not a lot of, you know, so no one makes them anymore.
Exactly.
But I got lucky, got the last evaporator in Japan apparently. The dryers are still made, and the expansion valve, there's an aftermarket one that'll work. Okay, I can take one aftermarket part in the car if I get cold air blowing again.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah. And it'll still be R12, so it'll still be nice. I don't have to re-engineer the whole thing for R134. I just want to make it doesn't leak. You know, I do care about the environment too.
The levels of grip, they're just...
Yeah, it's nice. But you can feel everything, like when I chop throttle that, it goes on the front tires and the whole thing turns in a little more. It does all the things you expect.
Yeah.
You know, so there's nothing unusual about the car. It's not like having to learn how to drive an old 993 or something where the back end is going to kill you when you do that.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's predictable.
Yeah, it was a very easy car to drive. I was surprised. I thought that it was going to be, I don't know, intimidating or something. But yeah, even in the passenger seat, you can feel how tight the steering is and how tight all the inputs are. This is pretty cool.
Some of the other ones, but I'm pretty happy that there's not, the dash isn't rattling apart yet, you know.
Yeah, no,
old plastic interiors.
It doesn't seem that rattly at all.
Yeah.
It seems very tight.
Yeah.
They should have made these longer. What were they thinking? Just because people didn't want to buy them because they were too expensive? But it's a really, really good car. It's worth the money when it was new.
Yeah, so people are importing the Japanese ones now.
Yeah.
The right-hand drive ones.
Yeah, I noticed saw one online on last night. One guy was asking 25 grand for it.
Yeah.
And it was a right-hand drive one.
Yeah. So if you're willing to put up with right-hand drive and the whole federal legality and all that, then you can get them now.
Kind of pointless. I mean, I guess if you want a newer one and you want to find one that has low miles, I guess maybe that's the thing to do.
But there's also reports about how they're getting rare to find in Japan, even so to import them, because Japan gives a lot of incentive to owners to, Japan gives the incentive to owners to get rid of their cars.
Yeah.
Because they want all these old cars off the road for safety and environmental concerns. So they incentivize people, and they actually make it harder for you to own older cars by taxation and other things in Japan. So I guess the reports are coming out of Japan that it's getting harder to find the FDs out there. So anyone who actually keeps a nice FD in Japan is actually kind of revered, because everyone over there knows how expensive that is to
because it's a classic car there, essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as rare as they are in the U.S., people.
It's not easy to find there either.
Yeah, exactly. It's getting harder.
They're just not easy to find.
Yeah. So they're gonna start dying out, and it's definitely why the collectability is going up on these cars.
Yeah.
The asking prices I'm seeing online have gone up for like really good condition ones have gone up like $10,000 in the past year. The asking prices I see dealers asking.
Yeah.
And I'm still watching the market, as are a lot of other people on the forums. They're all going, oh, my car's worth so much now. But, the beat to hell ones aren't still worth much. But if you've got a nice one like this,
yeah,
it's getting that thing where you have to almost drive it like you would your Ferrari, which means you don't drive it.
Honestly, I think you got a pretty good deal for it.
Yeah.
For how nice this car is. I think you got a good deal.
Yeah. I probably bought just in time to get it on the market before people go, nah, they're too much money. Because like right now, everyone looks at the NSX and they go, oh, now they're too much money.
And the NSX is started like crazy. I mean, good crazy. Ones are going for 100,000.
Yeah.
Which is more than they were new.
Exactly. So, yeah. If you can afford one and you don't mind spending a lot of money on them, it's still a good time to get an RX-7, the FDs, because they haven't gone super crazy yet. But all these 90s sports cars are definitely up and coming.
Yeah.
The collector market's going to start hitting pretty hard.
Exactly. I mean, honestly, I've been watching the S2000 values myself.
Oh yeah, I'll bet that's going to be a thing.
And it's already a little bit of a thing. My car has already increased in value from when I bought it.
Yeah.
I could sell it for what I bought it for, and I doubled the mileage of the car.
There's a bunch of, you've got the same problem a lot of the RX-7s had, where as they go down market, everyone starts doing hoopty things to them, right?
The problem is you can buy an early AP1 for 7 or 8 grand, which means a high school kid can buy one, which the car is a little too special for that, in my opinion. But
yeah. Oh yeah, there's the pop-ups.
Pop-ups? definitely has torque.
Yeah.
Which is, the S2000 does not.
That's interesting. Not at all, huh? Because, well, I mean, the one you have is supposed to be the torquier version even, right?
Yeah, it's got 10 more foot-pounds.
Oh, 10 more foot-pounds.
That does, I mean, okay, it's got 10 more foot-pounds, and they changed the gearing, so the first 4 gears are shorter.
Ah, I see.
So it does accelerate faster by a couple of tenths of a second to 60. But, you know, I mean, if you want it to go, you have to drive it like you stole it all the time, which I don't do. I mean, I baby the thing, you know?
Right,
I mean, I'm trying to preserve it as best I can, even though I still drive it, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's...
No, this one has the turbo mid-range, which is how they are all set up from the factory, and it's not what everyone wants. Everyone wants high-range turbo, right? But this has that nice flat torque curve from all the turbo trickery they did with the sequentials. So
I honestly feel like you could daily drive this car pretty easily.
yeah, you definitely could. Wouldn't be a pain in the butt, except for it's gonna explode.
Well, you just don't think about that,
Exactly.
you know?
Don't think about the apex seals and the things you're doing to your engine. Don't think about that. But, you know, again, like I joke about it. As long as you're taking care of it, they'll last. They just, you know...
I believe they probably would. I mean, if you take care of the car and you're not, you know, driving it crazy like a lot of people seem to do, it should be fine. You know?
It's kind of like they say about Ferraris. The Ferraris that have, you know, 20,000 miles on them, they still run great. It's the Ferraris that have been sitting around and not been driven that drive like crap.
The ones that have 2,000 miles.
Exactly.
They go for hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Exactly. The cars that didn't get lubrication to the upper side of the engine all the time. The cars that, you know, just sat around there getting crusty. And I don't know. I feel like these cars, like if I let this car sit for 2 or 3 weeks, when I get back in it, it does the weird little hesitations and the hinky little things. And
so you have to drive it like every week. Then.
Yeah, they definitely want to be driven more. We already passed, didn't we? Oh no.
No. It's the next signal that'll make a left.
But if I go tomorrow and I start the car, it's gonna be smooth as a whistle.
Yeah.
But if I let it sit for a week, it kind of is like, oh, what? So.
For sure.
Is it this one?
Yes, this one. Well, I'm glad you're keeping it up so nice. It's good to see, you know. It's always nice to see an RX-7 in good condition.
Yeah.
Brings you right back to
back to the 90s.
Back to the 90s, which is always good.
Back when there's no way I could have afforded this because my insurance would have been insane. But yeah, you know, after this I have to go to the grocery store. I have to stop by Home Depot. The car will get me there.
That's true. Well, that concludes the drive in the Mazda RX-7.